A while back, Paul Ryan offered an updated version of his budget plan that would at last make our national economy whole, solid, and debt-free. The only problem with this plan is that it will not make our national economy whole, solid, or debt-free. In fact, it would create an additional $1.8 trillion of debt, while making wealthy people far wealthier and middle-class and poor people even poorer. It is based on outright fraud, the wishful thinking of fairy dust sprinkled upon us, I can fly, and is the plan that Ryan continues to promote today. Have a look at Paul Krugman's analysis in his essay, The Flim Flam Man. Gary Klaben is one of those guys who manages to be sensible in a world that, let's face it, usually doesn't seem too sensible. Watch his most recent video where he compares how we believe certain things even in the face of a very different reality. It isn't always easy to see reality, as our news media only brings us the sensational. Example, CNN's month-long non-stop coverage of the Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappearance, even as there was never any new information. That very sensationalism causes our understanding of reality to be skewed in the direction of fear and danger. Pay special attention to that part as you watch Gary. Wonderful news! We no longer have to enforce sanctions against North Korea or Iran, nor do we have to worry about cutting off funding for terrorist groups. We no longer need civilian leadership to set the priorities or address the needs of the U.S. Army, which has been at war since 2001. We no longer have to deal with our southern border security or the influx of Central American immigrants, nor do we have to concern ourselves with counter-narcotics efforts. All of those things must be true since the Republicans in the Senate continue to block appointments of people who would be charged with leading our efforts to deal with these issues. Have a look at the article from the New York Times editorial board and you'll see that partisan politics is far more important to Republicans than having our nation safe and operating well, notwithstanding their chest-thumping and promises to carpet bomb and torture. Unless you believe that we should be apportioning responsibility for this insanity equally between the political parties, have a look at Ezra Klein's explanation. You already know that Donald Trump couldn't possibly get any crazier or more dangerous, right? Yet maybe he's just warming up, and this is the minor league of his xenophobia, his bigotry, his misogyny. Have a look at the MoveOn.org video and decide for yourself what's coming at future Trump rallies. And if total insanity grips our nation, what will happen if Trump is elected president? It isn't difficult to imagine stormtroopers smashing down your door in the middle of the night and then Trump telling the nation, "It's a beautiful thing, believe me." Maybe staying silent right now isn't an acceptable option for you. You've heard Bernie Sanders tell us the truth, that no president can reform our nation on his or her own because this is not a dictatorship. Instead, he calls on us for a political revolution, for millions of us to demand the reform we need. Tom Hartman tells us in his book Unequal Protection that he believes it will take 10 to 20% of us to stand up and make our voices heard. That is exactly why I offer this platform for our discussion of the truth and encourage you to comment, to make your voice heard. Go ahead, offer your ideas in the "What do you think?" section. And that is why I crafted and deliver my program, Money, Politics, and Democracy. You're not getting what you want. I've reached hundreds of people from across the political spectrum, and not a single person has given me pushback, because this is strictly a nonpartisan presentation of the truth of what is going on in America. It is also a call to action. If we are to become the millions of Americans making our voices heard and demanding reform, I'm going to have to bring this clarity to a lot more people. Will you help me to do that? We need to educate young people who will live for a very long time with the consequences of our actions today. We need to reach poor people who are suffering and don't understand why life is so hard for them or how to make things better. We have to reach blue-collar workers like those at Carrier Corporation in Indianapolis who are all losing their jobs as their manufacturing plant and all 2,100 of their jobs are being sent to Mexico. I don't want money to do my part to educate and motivate Americans. I just want to shove us back to being a democracy. That will make all the difference. So make the connection with a group you know who will listen to my message. Tell me when and where, and I'll show up. Thanks for being part of the solution. I'm Jack Altshuler.